Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie for those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight UK Season 10 Episode 2. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell and leave a comment down below. So we are at the honeymoons. We're going to be jumping from the honeymoons to the two new weddings. We have Kia and David who are sent to South Africa for their honeymoon. How fun. And immediately, David is realizing Kia has a lot of energy. He's really excited. He's jumping around. He's on 10 all the time. And he's thinking, I don't know how much longer I'll be able to deal with this. As we saw in the previous episode, Kia's mom did say that he does have a tendency to perform, to be the life of the party because that's what's expected of him. And we're seeing a bit of that here. Somebody else who's also very performative, Miss Sarah. Because why every time Sarah is talking to the cameras, she'll start all smiley and then her face will drop? It's as if she thinks that production is just going to cut out the moments where she is no longer pretending. But baby, that is TV gold. You look shady as hell. And don't get me wrong. It's not your fault you're not attracted to that man. But let's not pretend like you're trying to make something work when clearly you have no intention to do so. Dean is not doing himself any favors because at every waking moment, he wants to reenact High School Musical.
Got girl Sarah right next to me in Maldives, living life. Gonna be so like lit, so damn good. Gonna get some wood. Maldives!
At this point, Dean just needs to cut his losses. The romance, she already shut that down before he even got the opportunity to show her, okay? The friendship, she's not feeling it at all. There was a moment where he was starting to make a few like sexual innuendos and she would laugh a little bit, but we know that those laughs aren't really genuine. At least it's better than her constantly giving him a screw face. I would prefer the pity laughs over the screwing up the face because I don't know, it just doesn't make somebody feel good. And I wouldn't want somebody to come into the process being so confident and then leaving questioning their self-worth. You know what I mean? Speaking of self-worth, they do talk about the fact that he had lost almost 10 stone in the past and it came with its own issues. He became very arrogant. He saw a nastier side to him than what he wanted. She herself cannot even imagine him being like this bad guy, this guy with an edge. She just doesn't see that as fathomable whatsoever, right? In my mind, I was thinking this could be a reach. However, she likes a man who's an asshole. They could do a little bit of role play since he likes to, you know, do this theater act all the time. They could do a little role play of him being a bad boy and let's see if that turns her on. Let's see if that turns around. It won't. I'm just saying that came to my mind like, well, maybe if he role played like a bad boy, maybe she'd be into it. But we know it's more than just being a bad boy. She insinuates the fact that he was more attractive when he was slimmer. And she tried to backtrack it and he's like, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. But we know that's what she meant. Sarah and Dean also talk about why he is always bursting out into song. She says it would be nicer if he could just express himself instead of using song to express himself. He says that's just what he's used to. He puts his feelings into music and then he takes a moment to verbalize his feelings instead of singing his feelings. And he's like, oh, I guess it's not that hard. I was thinking to myself, man, Sarah would hate to be around me because I do that all the time. And I don't even realize I'm doing it. I almost do like a word association thing, not necessarily expressing my feelings, but if you say a word that triggers a song, I will start singing it. Absolutely, I will. So yeah, she would hate to be around me, but I do like that they kind of had this little bit of a breakthrough to explain why he does this. It's kind of like a comfort for him, but he could also get comfortable in verbally expressing himself. They also talk about types, right? And she says that she has never been with a bigger guy. She also has never gone from like a friend's to lover's journey. So it's clear that this relationship is over before it began. We head back to David and Kia. They are doing a game drive and they're told to be quiet because the animals have, you know, a heightened sense of hearing, right? He's not listening to that. He's getting very excited and it's getting on David's nerves. And then he makes a joke that further gets on David's nerves.
I feel I'm gonna die. All I want to do is scream and point and touch everything.
Waiting for intimacy. How do you feel about it?
It's just building the tension. It's just going to be
I know,
better
it
when we
is.
get there. Do you want to see a rhino's horn? Is it the horn you're excited about? Yeah!
So we did get confirmation that the joke itself wasn't crude. It's the fact that everything is a joke to Kia. He later on admits that he uses humor as a defense mechanism when things are getting a little bit too serious. He just wants to tap into his funny side just to add some levity. But sweetie, you signed up to be married. So it's gonna come with some serious stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, marriage is not a joke. I mean, in the experiment, these marriages aren't legal, as we know. But if you were to treat it like a real marriage, you cannot joke everything away. You're going to have some serious, hard-hitting conversations, right? One of the hard-hitting conversations they had was the fact that he has lost his older brother. His brother did have cerebral palsy. And around that time, his parents also got divorced. And so one thing he and his mom would do is use humor to kind of deal with the trauma that they were experiencing at the time, which makes complete sense. But now that you're in something where the person doesn't even know you, you're going to have to put your best foot forward, and leaning into the humor all the time is not going to be beneficial, especially if the person doesn't have that same sense of humor. And it seems right now David is not really on the same wavelength. Maybe David just needed to understand where it's coming from. He could understand it more now that he gets the origin, but as of right now, let's just not be funny, okay? The next people to get married are Grace, who is the wild midwife, and Ashley, who is a cheeky, chappy countryman.
I would describe myself as extroverted.
Loud, playful, fun character.
My friends would describe me as hectic, wild, always trying to find the funny side in everything.
I'm not a city boy, I'm a country bumpkin. I've always been an outdoorsy person. Being from South Wales, rugby is basically religion here. But the majority of the lads that I know that I play rugby with, they're all gentlemen.
Grace says that she has given her all in past relationships, but unfortunately that hasn't been reciprocated to her. So she's a little bit jaded when it comes to love. Ashley, he's also kind of jaded, but he says that he's quite a gentleman. He does play rugby, but he doesn't fall in line with that rugby stereotype of being like an F-boy, basically. And he's this lover boy. The lover boy that I feel like Grace is looking for. The only issue that I had at the beginning was whether or not he'd be able to take her strong personality. He does, however, say that he was raised with women, and so he's used to being surrounded by a lot of strong women. The interesting part now that I'm only clocking is isn't he the one who said, he's the one who said because he's surrounded by a lot of women, he tends to have more of a feminine disposition. And that's interesting when we learn later what his thoughts on feminism are. And I'm like, now how that makes, okay, no, you know what? Fine. At the ceremony, Grace goes straight into making jokes, and the friends immediately clock she's not comfortable.
Hey. all right. Just your average Monday. How are you?
Yeah, I've been pretty much the same.
Anyone ever done this before?
No.
Get your own out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's my type. I just don't know how I feel.
What's upsetting you?
I feel I don't, sorry. I can't.
Can I say, it's not good, okay? Either side of the spectrum is not good, right? But it is a little bit refreshing that it's the women who are struggling with attraction than it is the men. Because typically it's guy after guy after guy after guy saying, oh, I don't find her attractive. Meanwhile, he looks, you know. So it's just a smidge refreshing. It's not good. I admit that. It's not good. But it was a little bit refreshing. Anyways, in her defense, she did say looks matter to her. She wants to fancy the pants off of her husband, and unfortunately, she doesn't. So, yeah. When she was talking to one of the experts, they did pick apart why she uses humor as a defense mechanism. Even her friends called it out as well. So immediately when she's starting to do that, you can tell she doesn't like where she's at, but she doesn't want to make the situation bigger than it is. So she's trying to add some levity, similar to Kia. She has a breakdown. a complete mental breakdown. She's crying. This isn't the first time we've seen somebody have a mental breakdown after, you know, meeting their partner at the altar. Those people are still married to this day, the people who I'm thinking of in mind. So it's not the end of the world. But as the evening goes on, I don't think Ashley is doing himself any favors. So they head over to the photo shoot thing, right? And the photographer asked them if they want to kiss. And he's really into her. Let that be known. He thinks the experts knocked it out of the park, right? So she's like, oh, you know, I'm not really like a PDA person. I think there are people who are not PDA people. Completely understand that, right? But sometimes people say it just because they don't want to do PDA with you. So she obviously doesn't want to do PDA with him. He decides to kiss her on the cheek anyways. I said, now wait, hey. If I tell you I'm uncomfortable with something, don't cross the boundary anyways. Yeah, let's not do that, okay? He then tells her to smile. She did not like that because she thought she was already smiling. I don't recall her already smiling when he said it. So I can understand why he maybe would have said it, but I can also understand why that's off-putting to her because I've been told to smile too, and don't make me deck you in the neck, you know? At the reception, it just gets from bad to worse because he starts opening up about the fact that he was raised more traditionally, and as we know, Grace doesn't like that.
I kind of feel like it's the man's job to turn the woman around, like she's a lady. And not letting me kiss her.
Yeah.
Gained massive respect. I was raised like men are the breadwinners, like old school morals, basically.
Yeah. Money maker and the woman stays home.
So at first I was playing devil's advocate. I was like, you know what? Just because somebody was raised traditional doesn't mean that that's how they plan on their wedding or on their marriage panning out, right? Doesn't mean he's declaring that a woman needs to stay in a woman's place or anything like that. So I was thinking she was doing a bit much until he has further talks with her friends. I think it was her friend. And he's asked if he's a feminist. And he's like, oh, 100% no. Whew, God forbid a woman has equal rights. My God. Yeah, he was like, oh, 100% no. And she could have chosen to, you know, leave it there. But she decides to expand on the conversation a little bit more. This is where emotional maturity comes in. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people would just shut things down. But the friend was like, okay, let me investigate a little bit more before I write him off. Turns out he doesn't even understand what feminism means. And so after he gets the explanation, he's like, oh, I guess I am a feminist. Why are you so adamantly against something you don't even know about? How could you adamantly say no to something? Oh, 100% no. Instead of admitting, you know what, I'll be honest, I'm kind of ignorant to the matter. Could you like explain it to me? And then maybe we could see if I am or if I'm not. That would have been how I would approach it. Or maybe I don't know, maybe he genuinely thought he knew what feminism was. I'm really trying to make it work here for you, Ashley, but it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Moving on to the next couple. Next couple to get married is Nelly, who is no stranger to arranged marriages. Her parents got married arrangedly. Anyways, and she's marrying Steven, who is a family man in more ways than one.
Obviously, I want him to be completely obsessed with me. It's not bad.
I'm so lucky. I love you guys. Was she a perfect lady?
She is perfect lady for me.
Not only am I doing what they did, I've got one up on them. And if it worked for my parents, hopefully it worked for me too.
Despite the accent, I'm not actually an Essex boy. I'll always be a Geordie at heart. I'm the youngest of 5. Family mean everything to me. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am. So I have my sister and 3 other brothers. My daughter, Piper, is 9. Boy, Reggie, he's 5. He's never been able to tell us what he wants from an early age.
Steven works in finance and he swears he's not like the typical obnoxious finance guy. And I think that that is true. I think that his life experiences have definitely led him to be like a softer kind of person. He also played football back in the day, but he was mugged and was hospitalized because it was so brutal what they did to him. But I think that, coupled with him being in a tight-knit family, he is one of 5 siblings, and then having 2 children of his own, one of which does have special needs, I think all of that makes him this like nurturing, reassuring, compassionate kind of partner that Nelly is looking for. Now, Nelly in her previous relationships has always been cheated on. I think she was always cheated on. Either way, she believes that all her relationships are just doomed. And so she's going to need somebody who's able to bring that reassurance to her. And I actually think Steven can do that. Steven says that he is looking for somebody who's going to accept his children. He doesn't expect the lady to now be a mother figure. The mother is very active in their lives. I think we did see her on FaceTime and even in some of the B-roll videos. So yeah, he's not looking for a mommy substitute, but he needs somebody who's going to accept his kids, right? So he is approaching the wedding, not wanting to disclose that as of yet. I don't think it was an issue to hold on to it. It's just the fact that there were multiple opportunities where he could have said it and he didn't. But anyways, when Nelly comes down the aisle, she's in something that looks kind of like a carriage and it's covered with flowers. And she was concerned that he would think that she was a bit like too much of a princess, but he was eating it up.
Amazing.
Hi.
You all right? What an entrance. What an entrance that is.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I'm feeling this. She looks absolutely stunning in the red dress.
Tick, tick, tick. Go for it. Sorry, Dad. I do fancy him. Let's move on.
I love the fact that she was leaning into her tradition, even though she says that she's not very traditional herself. That's just something she wanted to do for the wedding. It just gives him a taste of where she comes from. Child, I'm not traditional myself, but I would like my boyfriend to see that side of me, even though it's not the entirety of who I am as a person. So I really did like that Nelly did that. They both find each other attractive. She doesn't want to, harp on his attraction too much, but she does say she fancies him and she thinks that his confidence is really sexy. When they're taking pictures, she's asking about family and stuff, and he opens up that he has a lot of siblings and that his nieces and nephews are his world. Well, she asks, "Oh, are they your world?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he doesn't disclose the fact that he has kids. And I'm thinking that would have been a golden opportunity. You don't know how somebody's going to react if you're holding on to this information. He didn't hold on to it for too long, but I just always question why people are so hesitant to say something while simultaneously saying that your kids are your world. If your kids are your world and the person who you're dating doesn't care for your kids, then on to the next. Like, I don't care. If I had children, I don't give a damn if you have a problem with me having kids. I'm going to somebody who then doesn't have an issue with that. Less time I have to waste with you. But I don't know. A lot of people are just so hesitant to talk about having kids. Oh, I forgot to say that Ashley has a kid too. Ashley's a dad. Yeah. Moving on. At the reception, it is now spreading that Steven is a father. So her bridesmaids know, they're talking to her and she's like, well, he didn't mention that he had kids, and I feel like that's something he would say right away if he did. Yikes, because now everybody is like, I can't really say it because that's for him to say. Like, I shouldn't be the one disclosing that to her. Eventually, he did say it to her at the end of the night. She's not fazed whatsoever. She just hopes that going forward, they have a relationship that's centered around openness and honesty, especially because she is prone to self-sabotage. So give yourself the best opportunity by being upfront right away about as much as you can so that this girl isn't looking for reasons to cut and run. So that's it for today's episode. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.